Oh my God. Let me show you what I got. This beat is so hot. Oh my God.
Is that bullshit?
I think not.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Candy Shop Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Clemens, and here with me today for Week 17, the Fantasy Football Championships, is one half of the Mike and Ike's, Ike Bonnie. What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Even after that abysmal Bears game we saw last night on Thursday Night Football. But my Christmas was good. Can't complain about anything about that. I hope your Christmas was good.
Yep.
How solid?
Yeah. Had good food, prime rib.
That's nice, man. Yeah, I actually did crock pot barbecue ribs, which ended up being
Nice.
good too. But yeah, man. But where do we go here as Bear fans? Like after what we saw last night, 6-3 in the year 2024, the Bears just lost the game 6-3. Like when we think it could never get any worse, and then it seemingly gets worse, and we just get punched in the nuts.
I mean, I'd be a little bit more worried if I was Seahawks fans because they're in the playoff contention and they're only – unless they're just kind of hanging out, just like, we can just finish these guys off easily. But 6-3 for a playoff team isn't – or playoff-bound team isn't great either. So I think both fan bases are just not happy about the whole – I think all of NFL is not happy about that game.
Yeah, agreed, man.
Most of the games. All the games were blowouts. Texans put up 2 points. At least we got more than them.
No, shit, I didn't even think about it that way, man. That's funny that you break that up. I didn't. That's incredible. It really was just a shit show of games. It really was. But hopefully this weekend's not so much a crap show. We got 3 games on Saturday, guys, then the rest of the slate on Sunday. Then we have the Monday Night Football game. Before we jump into that, I just want to remind everyone, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Then head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans, become an all access member. And that's where you get access to our award-winning ranking, draft cheat sheets with fantasy baseball right around the corner, access to our F6P Discord where you get custom advice for your leagues and your DFS builds, DFS projections, and stacking tool as well, guys. That's where you really make your money back, is in the DFS realm. That's for sure, with Keith Fleming, Dave Eddy, Chris Robin, all in the Discord talking DFS. So make sure to do that. What's going on, Albert? Glad you're with us as always. But Ike, without further ado, let's jump right into things. In case you guys don't know how we do it here, we usually have Mike here as well. The boys usually give a sweet and sour play, a love and hate type of play from each game. It's just going to be Ike doing that today, and I'm just here along for the ride, just like you guys are. But so I'll jump right into the first game on Saturday. We have the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the New England Patriots. Chargers favored by 4.5 in this one on the road with a game total of 42.5. Ike, no Gus Edwards for the Chargers in this one, but J.K. Dobbins is back. Sounds like he's going to give it a go. Yeah, I like seeing that. Will Dissly questionable in this one. Same with Hayden Hurst. So we might have to sit down stone smart this week, man.
Yeah.
And how things go. But I'll just let you take it away, pal. What do you got here for your sweet or sour play, whatever you want to do?
I'll get the sour out of the way right away because this should be an easy one. I think you're sitting most, if not all, New England players. I mean, if you're in a deep league, Drake May and 2 quarterback leagues can maybe get away with it, but it's a Chargers defense. They're pretty solid. And the only other one you can really get away with is Ramondre Stevenson and maybe Hunter Henry, but Ramondre Stevenson is considered flex at best. He's been struggling this whole year pretty much. So I would lean away from the Patriots. You might have to lean away from Herbert too. He might not have to do much. So especially in this game, but I do like Ladd McConkey. I think he's one guy that should be in starting lineups. He has 14 plus fantasy points in 5 straight games. I like him. He seems to be a good wide receiver 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I agreed. I think Ladd is a locked and loaded type of guy here, and he's not going to see much of Christian Gonzalez with Ladd playing a lot in the slot, so not super afraid of that matchup at all. Yeah, I'm also worried about Herbert. I don't really know what to expect here because you have Dobbins back. They might want. I would assume you can't just throw him back in the fire, man. Right?
They're
And
going to
give
use
him
Vidal a
15
lot. Not a
touches.
lot, but a decent amount,
Enough,
which I wouldn't be
enough.
starting him.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't have the cojones to start Kamani Vidal in any championships this week. That's for sure as well. But we go ahead, jump into the next game. I think the next one here, guys, we have the Broncos taking on the Cincinnati Bengals with the Bengals favored by 3.5. In this one with a game total of 50, kind of pretty much simple as this, man. The Bengals need to keep winning, and they need some help to squeak into the playoffs. And to be honest with you, man, Ike, I want to see it with what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are cooking together. I want to see these guys in the playoffs because this offense is humming on all cylinders. I'm assuming it's all systems go here for everybody on the Bengals.
Yeah, except for Gesicki. You can probably find a better option, but you're definitely starting most of the Bengals because this is a huge game for them. Denver is one team that is ahead of them, that if they beat Denver here, their playoff chances go from like 10% to double that, triple that at least. So they got that going for them, and Dolphins and Colts can easily lose a game these next 2 weeks. Yeah. So it's possible Bengals, if they win this, they can sneak in, which would be pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also starting Nixon Sutton too, by the way. So.
I was just going to ask you about Bo Nix because he went through a stretch where he had been awesome, and he's kind of simmered out here the last few weeks. It's a great matchup here for him against the Bengals. Is that what you're leaning into, and why you say Bo Nix is? What do you think, a border top 10 guy this week? You think?
I'd say more like top 12 because there's always the turnover aspect. I know he doesn't do much this year, but the Bengals lately have been turning the ball over pretty well, so you gotta watch out for that. But still, I like him. Courtland Sutton consistently gets the targets and all that. So,
yep, yeah, I'm curious to see how the backfield shakes out in Denver too with Jaleel McLaughlin.
I don't want any of them.
And you have Javonte Williams and Estime. You still never know what you're going to get with this Denver Broncos offense.
In a big week like this, you can leave like that. That'd be my sour pick. Is you can leave Estime and Javonte Williams on your bench. I mean, for Javonte, you're literally hoping for a 8 target type game like it was last week, and that barely saved him. So yeah.
Yeah. It's been something out of the backfield. And, coming into the season, I know at least I was kind of banking on the Sean Payton offense producing solid running backs year in and year out, man. And it's just kind of been a nightmare.
They haven't been able to find one.
Agreed.
I think all 3 of them are not very good, to be honest.
Who knew that you can't just find an Alvin Kamara out of nowhere? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's for sure. The next game, guys, we got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Man, I feel like we're flying through this without Mike here flapping his jaw.
Jabbering.
Shout out to Mike, man. Hopefully you're enjoying Mexico. I don't even know if you got there yet, but hopefully you get there safe and everything all goes well. And that's why we got the Cardinals taking on the Rams. Rams favored by 6.5 with a game total 47.5. James Conner questionable in this one, but I saw an update earlier today that said he is trending in the right direction and should be good to go for this game.
We need the fantasy god.
Yes, he needs to play out a full season, man. Come on.
Yes, he does.
Just so Michael Plant can never say that stupid thing again. He never plays in a full season. Trey Benson also questionable in this one as well. Ike, take it away with your Cardinals Rams sweet sour picks. What do you got?
For sweet, I'm going to go Kyren Williams. He's got 18 plus points in 3 of his last 4 games. It's not been pretty necessarily, but he's still getting the touchdown. So he's locked and loaded as a low-end RB1, definite RB2. You're obviously starting Puka Nacua. I think Cooper Kupp you can get away with in the flex, maybe. But it's been a rough few weeks, and this game might not be something they necessarily need him. So if you have a better option, I would lean away from Kupp, which is weird to say.
Jamie says Kyron's touchdown machine until he bets it, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, don't bet it then. If you're not good at it.
Well, you said you're a little scared about Cooper Kupp, man, but I just can't put myself in putting him on the bench. I can't do it. Like he's just his ceiling
Depends on who you have.
His ceiling is just too high. You said you like Cortland Sutton, man, so I'll just shoot you straight with that. Would you rather do Cortland Sutton or would you rather play Cooper Kupp? Because that's something some teams might have to choose between this week, you know?
I'd do Sutton. I would.
All right, I like it. James, Jamie said he's going to bet that, so
no.
make sure to stay away from Kyron this weekend, everybody. Then, but like, who do you got as your sour play here? Who don't you like in this Cardinals?
I like saying this more when LaPlante is here because he was all in on him. But again, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. I know it's just the past few games that we've been saying he's been scoring under 10, but I'm going to go with his past 10 games. In 7 of those games, he scored under 10 fantasy points. It's not been the year anybody expected from this guy. I'm sure he expected more from himself. I'm sure the organization expected more. But Kyler clearly is struggling to get the ball to him, especially later on in the season, which he is also a sour pick too as well.
They've just had such a weird offensive season, man. They want to be a run first, run heavy team, and I don't have a problem with that. But it feels like it's caused the passing game to not be able to get into a rhythm at all this year, if that makes any sort of sense. And I don't understand why. It never seems like Marv or Kyler are on the same page, except for you see a back shoulder ball here and there in the back corner of the end zone. Marv,
I think maybe
back there, but it's like he even gets the targets. Like that's not a problem at all anymore either. He's getting 6 to 8 targets. He's just catching 4 balls for 40 yards. And it's like,
I think maybe the problem is maybe Marvin Harrison wasn't as good as we all thought as a prospect. He is struggling a little bit to get open more than we thought. So
is that why he didn't test? Because Malik Neighbors just blew him out of the water?
Yeah, because you could tell Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. are faster than Marvin Harrison Jr.
They look better. It's just going strictly off eye test, not even taking in any of the
at least explosiveness. I'm sure Marvin Harrison has the route running down, but with Kyler Murray, it's not something. With your route running, you would need a strong quarterback that can sit in the pocket and wait for you to develop your routes, and that's just not working.
Yeah, maybe just Kyler Murray and Marv aren't a good pairing. I don't know.
No,
but he definitely hasn't lived. Like, guys, we were taking Marv. Well, not me personally, but people who were drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. was at the end of the first round last year, and that's, maybe we'll be back in on him next year. Maybe when he's going in the 3rd round, Ike, then we'll be okay with taking Marv.
Yeah.
Because that's probably where he'll end up going next year is 3rd round's a draft, which if you said that at the beginning of this year, you would have been laughed at, man.
No, I thought he would be an easy 1,000 yarder already, at least better than Brian Thomas. I knew Neighbors was going to get fed.
And we know for sure now Neighbors is good. We know Brian Thomas Jr. is good. Neighbors is going to be a superstar. Can we say Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a superstar? I don't know that we can say that, man, unfortunately.
Right now, he's in the Ladd McConkey territory where he's doing fine.
Would you
rather
like
he's doing anything crazy?
Dynasty League, would you rather have Marvin Harrison or Rome Odunze moving forward? Just a quick question.
Damn, Marvin Harrison.
And he's behind Neighbors and Thomas and Dynasty, you would think?
Yeah, should be. And then Rome should probably be 4 among those because he is struggling with drops, which is not like Rome Odunze right now, but still.
Yeah, Albert said Marv's ADP was 16. Yeah. So, middle of the 2nd round or early 2nd round. So,
there's a lot of people who had Neighbors over Marv during even the draft process, and people were like, no, it's Marv for sure. But now we can see Neighbors is just.
Yep. Just get Neighbors some sort of solid quarterback play this offseason. Like, get
Shedeur, man.
Get Shedeur in there and see what happens. Get Shedeur in there. Yep. Next game here, guys. We got
very fun then.
Yes, it does. We got the Colts taking on the Giants. With the Colts favored by 7.5 in this one. A game total of 40. We have a lot of game totals of 39 and 40 this week. That's how you know it's an icky kind of week.
Yep.
Questionable for the Colts this week is Anthony Richardson, who's dealing with back and foot issues. Actually hasn't practiced. He hasn't practiced the last couple of days. So make sure to pay attention to that. Or to be honest with you, I kind of like him as a streaming option this week against the Giants if he plays. I know it's hard to trust the guy, but he still has, a solid season, a solid ceiling. And then you got Malik Neighbors questionable. I saw today that he should be good to go.
Yeah.
Just the Giants are just so banged up at the offensive line and everywhere, and they're just really bad here. So I'm curious to hear where your sweet and sour plays are going. Are you thinking Jonathan Taylor here maybe for another good week for the Colts?
I am. I know you may think I'm chasing like the huge point day, but weirdly enough, New York Giants on the season have allowed the least amount of wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 finishes with only 6, which is weird. So that must mean they get beat on the ground, which is true because they've allowed the third most RB1 and 2 finishes with 15. So I think Jonathan Taylor is another smash play for sure. As for the other Colts, I think you can leave Pittman and Downs on your bench for the most part.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor owners are winning their consolation brackets everywhere, man. His last 2 weeks here.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is
get him away from that punishment.
I'm intrigued to see where a player like he goes next year. Like now that we kind of have a bigger sample size with him and Anthony Richardson both in the backfield taking carries from one another. Like, what are we doing with Jonathan Taylor next year? Is he still a middle of the second round pick?
I'd say anywhere probably after RB 10.
Yeah. Okay. I would be
maybe a little bit early, maybe RB8.
I was gonna say I think he's gonna go before that, but I don't love it before that either. So that's
because you still like him or Breece Hall next year. That's probably where you're at.
I'm still gonna go Breece Hall there.
Just because the PPR works, so yeah.
Man, I'm excited for the fantasy football offseason again. That's where you really could dive into things and just get into that and speculate stuff. That is the best part here. But who's your sour play? Who don't you like in this one?
I was good. It's Downs and Pittman. Like you said, unless Flacco plays, then it kind of gets a little bit interesting, to be honest. But as long as it's Richardson still, and with Jonathan Taylor kind of rolling with this offense and Giants being good against the pass, I would find a better option than Pittman. Downs is better than Pittman, so you can get away with that.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. And if you're starting Neighbors, you're okay with Tyrone Tracy, even though it hasn't been pretty as of late.
Yeah,
he caught that sick touchdown in the back of the end zone last week, and you could tell there that he is definitely he was a wide receiver at one point in his college career. Because that was awesome. And he's gonna be good play. He's gonna be a good player. And he's going to go late enough in drafts, I think, next year to the point where he's going to be one of my
unless they get Shedeur, then he's going to bump up a bit.
Yeah, that might be true. Before we move on to the next one, we got a question here from Jennifer. Head hurts in a guillotine league. Ouch. Yeah, that's a big missing factor here for a lot of fantasy teams with Hurts missing the last 2 weeks. Like, most of last week. Should they pick up Love, Knicks, or Purdy here? Who do you got?
I think I'm going to go Knicks. Jordan Love, which we'll get to later, hasn't put up many quarterback one finishes this year. So I'm kind of off on him, especially since they went to the more Josh Jacobs type offense. So, and Purdy has been struggling on and off. The whole offense has been. No Trent Williams, I'm pretty sure still.
Yeah,
I'm going Knicks. I would go Knicks.
Yeah. I don't mind going Knicks here. He's got the best matchup. Packers get the Vikings, which allow a bunch of points to opposing wide receivers. So Love is intriguing. I know he had a good game the first matchup after they were down. I want to say like 24-0 in that game or something.
That was just
like that.
13 weeks ago.
Yeah, they were playing catch up in that one for sure. So I don't mind going Bo Nix, and I think that's where you go as well. I think it's right on the money there. Then another one from John here. Need help. Who does he start? Jordan Addison, Ladd McConkey, Brian Robinson, Jalen McMillan. I'm down a decent amount. I have JSN and Nico. That I think it's Jordan
Addison's the biggest boom.
Yeah,
he can give you that 30 you're looking for. So that's what I'm going with. McConkey will give you the normal 12 to 15, and I'm out on McMillan.
I agreed. I think your massive ceiling bet here is Jordan Addison, and he has been awesome. So I don't think you even really you need to sweat it. Hopefully it stays that way. Go ahead, jump over to the next game now. We got the Jets taking on the Bills. Bills favored by 10 here with a game total of 46. Devontae Adams questionable in this one. Probably going to be on the he's going to play. Curtis Samuel also questionable for the Bills in this one as well. Take it away with your sweet or sour play. What do you got?
I'm going to start Breece Hall. I know it's been a disappointing season, past couple weeks too, but he at least is putting up 13-plus fantasy points in back-to-back weeks, and he has probably the best matchup he'll see for the whole year. It's the 30th best matchup second best matchup for running backs, so I like him. He should be able to get the ball in the passing game and running. Should be able to get in the end zone too.
I like it, man. Who don't you like in this one?
There's not much, to be honest. I kind of like this game. I think there's going to be a lot to play from here. I think you can get away with sitting Aaron Rodgers. I know for a few weeks there he was lighting it up a little bit. He's still throwing a ton, just not getting touchdowns. So you can find a better option over Aaron Rodgers.
Do you think we could expect a boom week here from Garrett Wilson after him coming out in the media and being like, hey guys, I don't know why I'm not getting the ball here. Is it the prototypical wide receiver complains then gets force fed, or do you
maybe he could be doing the Madden thing. So I mean, you're still starting him no matter what, but it's not the best matchup for him to boom, that's for sure. So
yeah, agreed. I'm just kind of going off vibes here, and they haven't been good as of late, but maybe he's spoken into existence. Maybe he finds a way to get in the end zone once or twice here and gets you 20, 25 fantasy points season or
I'd be happy at 15.
Season ending one. Yeah, because he probably hasn't lived up to his draft hype either, right? Because he was a borderline first round pick in a lot of leagues as well, probably around the same range as Marv, and they've both been a little disappointing.
Yeah.
But we can go ahead and move on to the next game. I think we got the Titans taking on the Jaguars. And we were talking about how the slate's kind of ewy, and this is another one of those games that are like, do anything else than watch this game, everybody. Game total of 39.5. Jags favored by just one here. Out of this brutal matchup, who do you like here? Tony Pollard questionable for the Titans. Didn't practice again this week. He's kind of been in general as of late, and it's been a little bit more of Tajay Spears kind of solidifying a role and being even better than Tony Pollard down the stretch. What are your thoughts on this Titans-Jags matchup?
Well, you said one of the sweet plays that I like. Tajay Spears, if Pollard is or even limited right now, like I said last week, Tajay Spears is going to get the red zone carries, and he converts them. He's been getting, I think it's 5 touchdowns the past 2 games, one of them receiving too. So I like him. I also like, obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. He is on a wicked tear in his past 5 games. He's averaging 10-plus targets. It's even with Mac Jones, he is the guy you want. So, yeah, you're starting him too. Other than that, there's not much to like from this whole team or from this whole game.
Agreed. I think Calvin Ridley, you still get away with playing as a wide receiver 3. He's fine with Mason Rudolph. Chig,
I was going to mention him. There's better
like,
options out there more than likely. Just the dude's he's been seeing really good targets lately, and with Mason,
I think
Rudolph,
it's like 20 in the last 2 or something.
Yeah, so
that. It's nothing absurd.
I mean, if you're really down bad and you lost, I don't know. I don't think many tight ends are injured. Yeah,
would you go Brenton Strange or would you rather go Chig Okonkwo?
I'm going Chig.
Yeah, I was all about Brent Strange the last 2 weeks. He was good the first week, and then the week after that, last week he had a little bit of a rough time, but at least you got one good week out of him. But moving over to the next game, guys, we have where is it? Another fantastic matchup, Mike, between the Raiders and the Saints, with the Raiders favored by 1 point in this one.
Oh God, this one's
total
easy.
Of 38. No Derek Carr for the Saints. No Alvin Kamara for the Saints. No Chris Olave for the Saints. Marquez Valdez-Scantling also banged up. There's just nobody left in the Saints offense, man. So it really is their whole team is a sour play. Like we thought maybe wheels up for Kendre Miller last week. Nope. He didn't get it done either with like 5 fantasy points. So What are your thoughts here in this Raiders Saints game?
There's literally only 2 players you want to start from this game. Everybody else, just sit on the bench and just be okay with it. Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. Brock Bowers finally got back to his normal self this year and putting up 20-plus fantasy points last week. Yep. And Jacoby Myers is still seeing solid enough targets to where he can pass as a wide receiver 3 flex.
Let me ask you about Amir Abdullah here, man. Back-to-back 18 fantasy point games. He's not doing it on the ground, man. 3 for 8 yards, 7 for 38 yards, and a touchdown last week, but 13 targets in the last 2, and he's caught 12 of those 13 targets.
He slipped by. You can get away with Amir Abdullah too, unfortunately, but yes, this is where we've come in 2024.
Yeah, no, that was why.
Fun fact, by the way, when Amir Abdullah was a rookie, I was so high on him. I remember drafting him pretty early for the Lions. I'm like, man, this guy's going to be pretty good. Turns out he didn't turn good for 8 years.
This guy's just a pass-catching machine, man.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's funny that you say that for sure. Looking back at stuff like that, you always got to love it.
Yeah.
Looking at the next game here, we got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with the Bucs favored by 7.5 in this one, with a game total of 48. One of the highest game totals on the slate, Ike, and it features the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Who would have thought that just 6 weeks ago at this point? Absolutely crazy. Yeah, the Buccaneers looking to keep that lead in the NFC South here. Baker Mayfield looks to keep rolling. It didn't start out good last week for it, but he ended up having a solid week as it came down to it. Are you in on him this week? Are you in on this Bucs offense against the Panthers, or what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. There? Most of this offense should do fine. I mean, I think Bucky, Baker, and Mike Evans should all be in your starting lineups. I think Baker more of like a borderline QB1. But other than that, I really wanted to talk about how the sour pick should be Rachaad White. When Bucky Irving came back into the lineup last week and was fully healthy, White only saw 3 carries, 10 touches, because he does see decent work in the receiving game. But to me, that's not enough to save you in the championship game right now. You'll have to depend on a touchdown, and right now I think that's going to Bucky more than anything. So I would be sitting White and then obviously starting Evans, Baker, and Bucky.
And you're starting Chuba from the Panthers, I'm assuming. You have Xavier Leggett's borderline. I'd rather not start him. Nope. Him being questionable. He's got a hip and a wrist.
Coker is higher than Leggett right now. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Jalen Coker here.
And even then, I don't want to start him either. So
You said a little bit earlier that you were out on Jalen McMillan. What are you? Just give me your quick thoughts on him. What's giving you pause of just being able to kind of just set it and forget it? Him in the lineup with K-Dot and being ruled out again as well here.
I just can't see him going. What would it be now? His 4th straight game with a touchdown? That's a tough run to do. It might be 3 or 4, whatever one.
3 straight, or he has 4 touchdowns in 3 games. 21, 18, and 16.
Yeah, it's got to come to an end at some point. I know this is a great matchup, but I think this could be a game where Mike Evans gets fed and Bucky Irving as well and all that.
Mike Evans got to get to those 1,000 yards, right?
Yes. So got to give him the ball, man. It's a good game for it.
Yes, it is. I tend to agree with you there, man. Go ahead, jump into the next game. We got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles favored by 7.5 in this one. CeeDee Lamb, the biggest news out of this matchup. Well, I guess it's not the biggest news because Jalen Hurts has also been rolled out, but CeeDee Lamb has been rolled out, done for the year. Just continuing an abysmal season for the Cowboys and their fans. And his fantasy owners, unfortunately, because if you had CeeDee Lamb, there's a decent chance that you were in the middle of a deep playoff run and you might have just lost your best player, which just totally sucks. And, there's teams out there that could have Jalen Hurts and CD on teams, and it's over just in an instance like that, man. It's crazy. It really sucks. But what are your thoughts here on this matchup? Who you like and who you hate?
It's not the best. This is not going to be a good matchup I feel like the Dallas Cowboys defense is starting to hum, so it might give Kenny Pickett a little bit of problems. So I think really you only want Barkley and Brown as your first sure starts, and then you can maybe get away with Devontae Smith as wide receiver 3 flex. He still saw, I think it was like 6 or some odd targets with Kenny Pickett, so it's fine, but I'm not happy about it. But for the most part, I'm sitting all Dallas players except for maybe Rico Dowdle. He does have a tough matchup, but he should be just heavily targeted or just getting touches galore.
So not interested in Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson.
Not against this
maybe.
defense, no.
Yeah,
Nah.
I know. It's definitely tough. I don't care what the over-under is either on the Saquon Barkley's rushing attempts. I am taking the over on that. I think this is a Saquon 25 carries in this one.
100 plus yards for sure. I don't want to guarantee it, but I'm going to say like 80%.
Yeah, don't stamp that. But I think there's a very good opportunity for Saquon to go bonkers in this one, man.
Ferguson, is he healthy?
Yes. Yep.
You might be able to get away with him. I'm sure he might be fine, but other than that,
he's the number one target, man. Yeah, he might be.
He very well could be. Yeah.
That's interesting here. Jumping into the afternoon game, guys, and there's only 2 of them this week. There's only 2 afternoon games, so it's going to be a little bit of a brutal afternoon.
They probably should have put a good game on during the afternoon.
I mean, you got Packers Vikings, the second one. That one's okay.
That's fair.
That'll be where everyone's eyes will be locked in on, because I can't imagine this game's going to be good. Dolphins at Browns. I'm sure the weather's crappy in Cleveland right now, so Tua in this offense is probably going to have a down week. Let's just be real. The game total is even kind of suggesting that, like, with just 39.5 game total. Dolphins favored by 6.5. Tua Tagovailoa is questionable with a hip. He'll be good to go. Tyreek Hill questionable, always. He will be good to go. Yep. A Jaylen Waddle knee questionable. I don't think he's trending in the right direction to play. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I see Cedric Tillman is still out. David Njoku's been ruled out already, Ike. I didn't see that until I just checked it out. And then you got Jameis Winston questionable with the right shoulder, but they got DTR there, Dorian Thompson-Robinson starting at quarterback anyway, so it doesn't really matter here. I saw something today that DTR's average yards per attempt is the lowest in NFL history out of a certain amount of passing attempts or something.
That's good. That's really good.
He doesn't have the goods, man. he is not it. So are you starting anyone in this Browns offense, man?
One person, Jerome Ford. Since Nick Chubb's injury, he's had 18 plus fantasy points in back-to-back games. If they want any shot of winning or being competitive, it's going to have to go through this guy, especially since they're missing literally everybody else. On that, with saying that, you should probably be sitting Jared Judy, especially with DTR as the quarterback.
Yeah, man, it's totally gross in Cleveland. But hey, at least Deshaun Watson gave some money back and restructured his deal today. I don't know if you saw that, but at least it's not a huge deal, but he could have at least. He should have just gave him all the money back.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
there you go. Sorry.
He'll be back on the roster, they said, next year. Who knows if he'll be playing off the Achilles injury. What do they do at the quarterback position, man? That's what my thoughts go to when I think of Cleveland Browns.
And it's not like this quarterback group in the draft is that great, so.
And it's not like they could throw the bag at Sam Darnold, I don't think. I don't know how much money that just created with the Watson stuff, but I can't imagine it's going to be the $30 million that Sam Darnold's going to command.
Sam Darnold cannot go Cleveland. He will – everything he's worked so hard for to be relevant will just come crashing down like none of it.
Where he's going to go, right?
No.
We were talking about this on the Sunday show. We couldn't figure it out on the spots, but I thought about it. Darnold's going to be the quarterback in Tennessee next year. That's where I think he's going, and that'll
better than Levis. And you get who's the coach?
Callahan.
Yes, that's who it is. Bengals old offense coordinator. So
yeah. I don't think that's a bad fit there. I don't know if he would succeed in Tennessee because that's kind of hard to do as a quarterback there. I know Ryan Tannehill did it for a year or two, but yeah, that's where I think that one is headed with Sam.
That's not a bad one.
Yeah. But before we jump into the next game, we do got a quick question here. Where did it go? From Tommy. Tyreek or Ladd PPR? Like, where are you going out of those two?
I'm still going Tyreek.
That's where I go as well, even though he's probably a little more boomer bust than Ladd, but he could still, even if the weather's crappy, Tyreek could take any ball to the house. So that's where I lean still there. And then would you go Stevenson or Alexander Madison? Also,
that's a rough pick between those two, but I'm going Stevenson.
Yep, that's where I lean as well. He's got some other ones. We were just talking about Chig, actually. Chig or Tucker Kraft?
And Chig. Well, in the second one, I'm going Hawkinson over Chig, and then in the first one, I'm probably going. I go Chig over Kraft.
I would too. I think Chig's guaranteed a little bit more volume. I feel like all of Tucker Kraft's fantasy points consist of touchdowns, and it's obviously that's not a
big plays.
It's tough to depend on. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna lean away from Tucker Kraft in this one. Jamie said weather is nice in Cleveland. Oh, they must have known Tua was coming, man. So they're looking down on him.
59, holy hell.
59, yeah. That's it's actually kind of warm here in Wisconsin. We're getting a little bit of rain and a ton of fog, man. So it's definitely some weird weather going on. Another one from Tommy here. We got Jalen McMillan or Jamison Williams. And he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown already in the lineup. I think you still go Jamison Williams here.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I won't second guess myself. Then I kind of am, Mike. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of second guessing myself. All right. No. Go JMO. Albert says fire up that Dolphins DFT. Yeah, I
haven't said that much this year.
With you there. No, you definitely have not. Sean says I got a problem, boys, with Njoku and Otten both out. I have to turn to Foster Moreau or go to the waiver wire and pick up Jordan Atkins, Austin Hooper, Tyler Conklin. Who do you guys suggest I start? It's probably Tyler Conklin, isn't it?
Austin Hooper does get some random catches here and there. So I wonder who else is out there.
Conklin's had at least 5 targets in his last 3 games, 7 last week. He got 5 out of 7 for 59 for 10 fantasy points. The problem is he doesn't score touchdowns. But
neither does any of those other guys, so I'm going Conklin just because he.
I think Conklin's okay there. I think that's the way to go as well against the Bills. He said that's full PPR, super flex as well. That doesn't really change a whole lot. Non-PPR here, who should I flex or swap? Here's the lineup. Breece Hall, Tajay Spears, RB2, JJ London, flex Jaden Reed, Jerome Ford, Rashad White, Pollard, or Durendo. Would you go Jerome Ford over Jaden Reed, Ike?
Yes. Yeah,
I think that
over White as well. Over Pollard because you're already playing Spears. And Garendo is probably the one that's iffy, but I'm still going to go with Ford. He's been better the past few weeks.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's the right call there myself. Jamie said he agreed on Conklin. I like to hear that. 3 people in on him now. And then from Taylor here, Pollard, Tracy, Garendo, full PPR. Thinking Pollard is a sit. We kind of mentioned that earlier.
You probably should think that way, yeah.
I think Tracy's the right call here. Like we said last week, it wasn't pretty. Still found his way in the end zone on a catch in the passing game. I think he could see some similar work there. I think he's the play here. I think it's Tyrell Tracy.
I'm going to go Tracy too.
All right. And then another one. I'm in the championship match. Awesome, man. Good luck. But he lost CD in his flex spot. These are my best options on a thin waiver wire. Michael Pittman Jr., Amir Abdullah, Kendre Miller. Are you riding the Amir Abdullah train?
I can't believe I'm going to say it, but it's Amir Abdullah. That's where we're at, man. Abdullah. If you want that chip, go and put Amir in.
Yeah, I think that's right as well. I could also grab up whomever is the best option to replace CD, but I think that's riskier than anybody I just named. Yeah, I think Abdullah's
no,
okay.
You're good. You're good.
Guaranteed 3 to 5 catches, man. So the floor is decently there, especially if it's PPR. So I'm okay okay going there. And Sean, anytime here, man, we're here to help. If you could hit that like button while you're heading out, and hit that subscribe if you're not already. We really appreciate it, everybody. But Ike, let's jump into the next game here. In the last afternoon game, we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Probably the best game on the slate, unfortunately. Probably. On paper, Vikings favored by 1 at home in this one with a game total of 48.5. Christian Watson questionable in this one, shocker. But that's really the biggest injury news there. Jair Alexander out once again. Man, he must have had something going on in that knee that wasn't reported quite right. I don't want to call anybody out there, but he's been out what seems like a month, and it's just
I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, it's not ideal there, Ike. But who do you like? Who do you love? Who do you hate in this matchup?
Well, I don't hate him, but I think you can get away with sitting him, and that's Jordan Love. 5 straight under 20 plus fantasy point games and 10 of 13 in 2024. So he's not what he was last year, unfortunately. Obviously, with the emergence of Josh Jacobs, they have gone to more of a run-heavy type team, and it's made the team better in both ways. So I don't think it's going to change any different this week because they're going to want to control the clock over the high-powered Minnesota offense. So I expect the same over and over. So you can find a better option than Jordan Love. I'd rather play Bo Nix, Baker, guys like that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's okay as well. Who's your sweet play, man?
This one, we alluded to it earlier with, I think someone asked a question about it, but it's Jordan Addison against the Packers in his career. He averages 16 points per game. We like that as a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. That's perfect. And in 5 of his last 6 games, he's averaging 8+ targets and 20+ fantasy points per game. So he is on a tear. Him and Justin Jefferson are both must-starts and should be able to do work.
Packers defense is a little aggressive here too, Ike. So that I feel
They've been good. They've been good.
Yeah, they have. But I feel like with them being as aggressive as they are, that gives Jordan Addison the opportunity to maybe pop off for a big play. Yeah, I'm all about Jordan Addison. I think that's a great call here. I think Aaron Jones is an okay play here in a revenge game. I think you're still rolling him out as a top 24 guy, obviously. Hawkinson is fine, top 12 tight end. Fired up a lot of people here in this match.
Darnold, you're playing. Jacobs, you're playing. I'd probably stay away from most Green Bay wide receivers. You never know which one's going to get the most targets, but if I had to choose, it's Romeo, which take that as you may.
Yeah, for sure. You're taking Sam Darnold over Jordan Love this week in this match?
Yes.
All right. I like it.
Sam Darnold should be a top 10 quarterback once again.
Yeah, I agreed there. And Sean says, we really do think Conklin against the Bills defense, this is for the ship. I think that's the right
You just don't have many other options. So, I mean, at a certain point, it's better than nothing. You just got to hope for a few points.
Yeah, Jordan Atkins, I guess, maybe with...
he won't see enough targets. I'd like to know who else is on the waiver wire if you have enough time for that, but until then, it's Conklin.
Mm-hmm. Then before we move on to the primetime games, we got one from Richard Standard League here. Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, Isaiah Guerrero, or are we just going back to the well with J.K. Dobbins?
I'm not doing Pollard, and I think I'm out on Dobbins just because there's no way coming off that they're going to just bust him out with 15, 20 carries. I could be wrong, but I don't see that happening. They're probably going to want to get Vidal a little bit involved in a game that they should win. I'm going Spears. He's had a really good few past games, and if he's the only guy there or if Pollard's limited, he should see a lot of touches. So, yeah.
What do they have to gain from trotting an injured Tony Pollard out there, man, at this point? For more than 5 carries or so.
You might as well just show what Spears can do. And he's showing he is the third down back, and he's probably the red zone back. And Pollard is the guy that can get you there. So I think they're both very similar. I don't know why they even went for Pollard, but that's a whole nother discussion. So,
I mean, at least Tony Pollard's good at football.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
we found that
Spears
out
wouldn't have
this year.
been this good, but Spears, it would have been fun to see Spears be the number one back full for fantasy. It would have been cool. So,
Yeah,
they ruined it.
That is for sure. The Sunday night football game, guys. We got the Falcons taking on the Commanders. This is also a pretty good game. If the Falcons show up and they can put it all together, Commanders favored by 3.5 in this one with a game total of 47.5. Obviously, Kirk Cousins still benched for the rookie Michael Penix Jr., who looked okay last week. Made a silly mistake throwing an interception in the red zone. He put all on him.
It wasn't a silly mistake. Kyle Pitts had it in his hands, and he saw the defender, and he's like, "Here you go."
The silly mistake was thrown it to Kyle Pitts.
Touche. Okay.
But what
Fair
are your
enough.
thoughts? What are your thoughts here on this Falcons Commanders matchup, man? Who are you firing up? Who are you more
Must
leery on?
start no matter what. I don't care unless you have Josh Allen, because this is hard to start over him, and maybe one other quarterback that I don't even think I can name right now, but it's Jaden Daniels. He has 4 straight quarterback 1 finishes. He's averaging 29.8 points per game during those games. And he's had 2 quarterback 1 overall finishes, 1 quarterback 2 overall. He is on another level right now. He can do it on the ground. He can do it in the air. He's like what everybody thought Anthony Richardson would be this year.
Yeah.
So
Yes, he is.
He is just breaking fantasy, and I love it. I mean, I hate it as a Bear fan because he is just tearing it up. It's better coaching, better offensive line, whatever. There's more to that, but still good for him.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're firing him up. You can put him as he's probably his QB2 behind Josh Allen on the slate. So
I'd do top 3, and at the lowest top 5. Really, I mean, it's great matchup for him too.
Yep. Who's your sour play? Who don't you like?
I'm gonna take the easy way out. It's Kyle Pitts.
We're
done with him.
Nowhere near your starting lineup.
I'm not gonna lie. That guy who was having the decision on the tight end, I'd probably play Conklin over Kyle Pitts now. So that's where we're at now at Kyle Pitts. He has got butterfingers for hands. It's over for him. Go find a new team, hopefully. But yeah, it's Kyle Pitts for sure.
Yeah.
I'm also a little bit worried about Mooney in London. I'm not sure how they'll do with Michael Penix. I think it's going to be more of the Bijan and Algier show.
Yeah, very well could be. Are you going back to the well with Brian Robinson? If any championship teams made it through after him giving you, might have been 0 points. It might have been negative. I don't even.
It might have been negative, I think.
Yeah, it was. It's a bad time from our guy Brian Robinson here, man.
Good matchup. I think you can get away with it in the flex, depending on. I think I'd play him over Tracy. I think I would do B-Rob over Tracy.
You would, huh?
Yeah, I think I would. Just because in the past, B-Rob has shown that he can perform. It was a weird game last week. He just couldn't hang on the ball.
Yeah, no, that is for sure. Definitely a weird one. Don't expect to see that from Robinson again. Albert brings up a good point here about Tony Pollard. I think he brought up an incentive thing last week too. Needs 2 more touchdowns to get a $200K incentive bonus. Problem is, man.
Fortunately, injuries can prevent that.
Yeah. And how many times are they going to be in the red zone? I mean, maybe he might be onto something. Maybe they just, if they get down to the goal line, maybe Pollard comes in just to get that for him. But
yeah, maybe
it's risky business here. And then Sean just coming back with that tight end question. He said the waiver wire is Atkins, Hooper, Conklin, Moreau, Tommy Tremble, Parkinson. Elijah
I don't even know
Higgins.
that last one, and I do fantasy football stuff. So.
I think he's on the Browns actually.
I'm gonna go with Conklin again.
Yeah, that's where I stay leading it as well. And the last game on the slate, guys. The last game for the Candy Shop Fantasy Football Podcast for the season, we have the Lions taking on the 49ers, which at the beginning of the year on paper, we thought this was going to be a perfect matchup. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's been a year from hell for the 49ers with injuries, just everything that they have going on. The Lions, best team in football now. So to be honest with you, anytime they're on their kind of must-watch TV. Just unfortunately, even they are banged up now. Like, kind of been banged up a lot of this season. You got a Gabe total of 50.5 here. So Ike, take it away. Who you loving? Who you hate?
I still think this game could be entertaining. I know, 49ers are still a good team. They're just struggling and been dealing with injuries for pretty much the whole year. Lions have too. Just they've conquered it this year, unlike the 49ers. But this could be weird. My sweet pick is going to be Deebo Samuel, even though I've been shitting on him for the past many weeks. But he saw 5 rushes last week, 9 targets. He caught 7 of them. With limited resources and in a solid matchup, he should be able to get the ball. And it's time to get your star wide receiver, now that Ayuk's out, the ball so you can actually start winning games. So I go Deebo here.
Yeah, no, I like that. I was a little ballsy last week at the Sunday show talking about in a few start-sit questions. I'm like, I think I lean Deebo here, just a little bit off of vibes. Just felt like he was gonna have a bounce back week after being awful all season long, and he was fine. He was solid.
Of course, he does something after I rip on him for being the podcast boy.
Yeah, hopefully he can continue to do something this week as well. Who don't you like here in this one, Ike?
With me saying Deebo, I am going to say Deebo over Jawan Jennings. He is my sour pick. He is seeing the targets. Just I think Deebo Samuel gave him the Butterfingers effect these past few weeks, and now Jawan Jennings has got it because in 4 of his last 5 games, he has been under 10 fantasy points. Past few games, he has a 40% catch percentage. Meanwhile, Deebo is now at 63%. So they definitely switched roles. So, yeah, it's time to – it was fun while it lasted, but it's time to get Jawan Jennings out of your lineup.
Love it. You're absolutely right. Definitely was fun while he lasted. You're starting Jared Goff for the most part. You're starting Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously, St. Brown, Jamison Williams in a lot of matchups. I think you're firing him up because of his upside that he possesses. Even in a tough matchup against San Francisco, I know they're a little tough on wide receivers, but I think you're okay firing all them up. That's also the highest game total on the slate, guys. So Vegas is expecting some points here to be scored in this one. But
it's a rematch of the NFC Championship game, and it was a decent scoring game in that too. So I think it should be entertaining. So
that means Dan Campbell's going to put his foot on the throat, man. That means he's going to want to kill the 49ers.
That could be a possibility.
Oh, man, here we go. I'm excited for this game now that I just put that together. All right, let's go. Dion says, just won his ESPN championship this past week. Congrats on that, man. It's hard to win championships, and that's 6 Yahoo.
6 Yahoo. I'm sorry that you're in Yahoo leagues, but
go for it. Dion, let's go, man. Good luck in all your championship matchups. And then before I get out of here, Ike, let's answer this important question from Jamie. Are hot dogs considered a sandwich? And we're flabbergasted, Jamie. I don't know. I don't really have an answer.
What considers for a sandwich? You need a bun or buns that
But
close,
why isn't a hamburger? Why isn't a hamburger a sandwich then? If that's the case,
a hamburger is a sandwich.
Okay,
I think, right? Or are we thinking of I don't know, man. What's a sandwich then?
Jamie, I don't think it is. I
no, because a sandwich, if you're thinking about it, is long. Are you thinking of like a from Subway?
A sandwich isn't. Yeah, it's in between two. I think you're on the right path. A sandwich is in between 2 buns, man. A hot dog kind of sits on top of the bun, in essence here, along with the pickles, the peppers, the onions, the relish, whatever else you're throwing on there if you're doing Chicago style or whatever. So Jamie, I don't.
What is it then?
Is a sandwich. I don't have that answer either. Dion's got hot dog as a hot sub style. So I guess I think he would lean towards it being a sandwich then, a sub sandwich.
I'm going to go with if it has buns, it's a sandwich. Or some kind of bread, I guess.
I'm just going to go over here to eat this hot dog sandwich.
I'm gonna start saying that.
Can I get a hot dog sandwich here? Yeah, that's
Start weirding
interesting.
people out.
JB said hamburger is a sandwich, like an airplane is a vehicle. Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, you got me thinking here. You got me thinking. I love it though, guys. This was a lot of fun, Ike. It was a lot of fun this year. I know that this podcast, guys, especially behind the scenes, has had this ups and downs all year long, just to give you a peek behind the curtain here. But I'm glad we finished the year here in week 17. And this is the last episode of the Candy Shop this season. And it might be trending to the last episode of the podcast, maybe forever. Still, maybe a work in progress. Maybe we figure something out next year. But for the Candy Shop, this might be it. Sunday show we still got going on here this week. We're here helping you win fantasy championship. Ike, you're here for the start sit segment, replacing
Yes,
right? Right on. Can't wait for that. We also will have Alan Sandage on talking his best bets. Joe Bond will be back after a 2-week absence as he goes for a rankings title this Sunday. He's in second place right now, hopefully in the Fantasy Pros consensus. So hopefully he can hop whoever is ahead of him now. He can steal that number one spot. That'd be great. But he'll be on the show as well, and that all starts at 10:30 Eastern time, guys. So make sure to check out the YouTube channel then. Hit that bell for notifications on your way out so you know when we go live on Sunday. Please subscribe. Please hit that like button. But until the Sunday show, for Ike, I'm Dylan. We will talk at you next time. The Candy Shop is closed. Thanks, guys.